Americans watching this interview right now and hearing what you're saying, what can they do to fight what you call this inverted totalitarianism?
We have to opt out of the mainstream to the extent we have to break the back of the consumer economy. 70% of our economy is driven by consumption.
Cripple the money flow? Not spend money?
Yeah, I mean, to the extent that we can build a popular movement that counters the corporate rape of the country that is furthered by both the Democrats and the Republicans, the better off we'll be.
So, if you want to figure out a way to stop the empire, please listen to me, take some notes. First, number one, stop working so damn hard. Now, you're off the hook if you work for Amnesty International, or Habitat for Humanity, or the Occupy movement, or you're off the hook if you work in an ER. 2, stop buying crap you don't need. Step 3, take the money you save in step 2 and help out some of the people who are exempt in step 1. 4, every year the IRS lets us take an extra 90 days to file our taxes. Treasury Department hates this. They want to close the books on the year, and all the people are not sending in their returns. 4.5. Stop giving the government extra money. Look, I hate to be the one to tell you, you're not going to win the lottery. Then there's these. Besides killing yourself on the installment plan, these are an excellent way for the government to get extra money out of you. Step 5. Please turn off your internet's machines and go meet your neighbors. Step 6. Don't make fun of poor people. Step 7 is speak truth to power. You're going to be like Toto in The Wizard of Oz and pull the curtain away from the evil wizard. Okay, step 8. You're going to go to street demonstrations and march your butt off. I know I said before, the street demonstrations do not change anything, and that is absolutely true. You do not go to a street demonstration because you're going to bring down the empire. You go to the street demonstration because after a year of being the only guy in your office who thinks George Bush is a war criminal, it's nice to meet people who agree with you.
Direct action and the culture of resistance. A key role of anarchist organizations is to take direct action. Direct action is action taken by oppressed people to disrupt or dismantle oppressive systems without the interference of authority figures and bureaucrats. Referring back to the principle of prefiguration, we hold that horizontal structures are the legitimate basis of action, not whatever the authorities will allow. We cannot allow authorities to set parameters around our resistance because those parameters reflect their interests and exclude the actions necessary to dismantle them. These are the key reasons for taking direct action. With escalating campaigns of direct action, we can force bosses to meet our material demands. This can include things as small as a demand delivery, where we produce a letter demanding that our grievances be resolved and hand over the letter to the employer with a visible show of collective support. It can also include a communications blockade, where we hammer the bosses with complaints over the phone, social media, emails and so on, all in the same time period. Further up the scale are strikes and pickets, where we refuse to work and form a line outside of the shop to stop people from entering. We can also occupy the workplace and stop management from entering, which they know is just a step below expropriating them and running things ourselves. Seizing the means of production requires direct action on a mass scale, in particular a general strike, where all of the workers across all industries refuse to work. Our labour is the source of their profits, so if we stop working, they stop profiting. With our collective strength, we can shut down the basis of the capitalist system. Although direct action is the reason we won the 8-hour day, minimum wage laws and health and safety regulations, it isn't just about economic struggle.
Everyone check it out, the New Human Rights Movement. The end vision for this book is a beautifully democratized symbiotic ecosystem almost, where people are collaboratively growing society.
Yeah.
Talk about how you lay that vision out.
Well, in terms of transition, there are 5 steps, so I try to be as direct as I can because it's very easy to just bring up theory. So the 5 steps are the application of automation that we've talked about, the access of things as opposed to property, which doesn't necessarily mean that suddenly no property exists. It means that the society is incentivized to share what it has. Then there's open source, which builds into the access phenomenon. Open source is what will create the innovation. Then there's the localization phenomenon. That's where we finally realize we keep a global sense, but we realize we don't need to have all of this industry spread all over the world in order to satisfy a community on the other side of the world, you know what I mean? So that's that one. And then the other one is this more difficult thing to bring up called digitized network feedback, which all that really means, you track all the transactions that are happening, economic transactions, and it can be within a monetary system or without, and you have all the feedback that you need to know what's happening in an industry. So you put all these together, and you end up with a system that incentivizes people working together, incentivizes people sharing, all those kindergarten things that we're taught, remember? All those things that we're supposed to have in our values that are completely robbed of us as we grow older and we realize that all the things we were taught as children that are ideal values were apparently wrong because no one ascribed to them anymore. And you have a non-competitive society, obviously, and you have a society that's actually sustainability focused because we're understanding what we're doing.
Step 9. This is okay. Step 9. Learn to have fun. As I said, taking down an empire is a marathon, not a sprint. And we all know that not everybody who begins a marathon can get to the finish line.